Going to be catching these transferring SCVs. Does manage to take out a couple of them, but losing a few Mutalisks in the process as well. About half of those Mutas have been taken out, and the other ones have been injured a little bit. As there are a bunch of tanks sieged up. This one actually not sieged up. He's a cool kid, the alt kid, the hipster tank. Not sieging up because that is the new fashionable thing to do, as this hatchery has just now popped inside the new 4th base for our Zerg player. These Mutas still flying around, as actually no, that's a new group of Mutas joining the original group of Mutas up over here. There are now going to be 10 Mutas flying in the air. Will they be able to find something to attack? Is this base defended? There is one missile turret here, and the Terran army isn't too far away if the Mutas decide to attack that area. Here come the Marines, going to be catching the Mutas once again. So HayprO not able to do as much damage with these Mutas as he probably would like to do. A couple of Marines just running over there to the watchtower. Looks like our Zerg player is going to be getting melee attacks level 2 along with flyer attacks level 1, so just getting some upgrades right now in terms of attacks. While our Terran player is getting vehicle weapons level 1 along with weapons level 1 for his infantry and infantry armor level 1 as well. So both these players getting some upgrades. Thor is now being made as a response to these Mutas that our Terran player has been seeing in the air. So he will have a nice composition of tanks, Thors, Marines, and Medevacs. And these Marines all running to the watchtower. Spoiler alert, you don't need to spend the entire Marine force taking over one watchtower. As these roaches do leave from there and leave behind, I believe, a Zergling? No, actually just a roach right there in the trees. So that's a very well hidden roach right there. You almost can't see that unless you know it's there. So great move right there, hiding it inside the shrubbery. Unfortunately, it does move and reveal itself to the Terran army. And here come the Terran Marines and tanks. Going to be moving to the middle of the map once again. Will they be able to do some damage? He needs to keep this creep spread under control. Do a couple of scans and find those creep tumors, as there are, it looks like, about a dozen or so banelings loose there at the expansion down here. Will they be able to get a nice angle on this Terran force? They will be able to do so, and here comes, nope, he pulls back out. I thought he was going to run in there with banelings, but nope, he decides to live another day and try it again some other time. And it looks like a drop was down up here, but the Mutas do find that, and there are enough Mutas to say no to this small drop, so all those Marines will lose their lives, probably the medevac as well, as yes, these Mutas do their job. Only a couple of them lost their lives, as here come the tanks sweeping up and managing to attack this 3rd base for HayprO. Going to be taking it out. Looks like there are no drones here anyway, so really not the greatest loss there, but that base will be taken out pretty easily, as a new base being taken up here at the 12 o'clock expansion, along with a new one here as well. So double expanding is our Zerg player, along with getting a dozen more Mutalisks, as that expansion completely lost now, so he really didn't try to defend that at all. Critical massive Mutas, there is a full tab of them. Are there Thors, stationed around the mineral lines? There isn't one at the main, so that might spell some trouble. There's a lot of missile turrets there at the 3rd base. Here come Mutas. There are, I believe, 5 missile turrets, but the Mutas say, we don't care, because there are so many of them, they can basically one-shot those missile turrets, as the Terran army is going to be moving across the middle of the map as well. Just taking out a couple of creep teamers, doing some scanning there. We'll keep an eye on that, as the Mutas take out most of the missile turrets, do take out a couple of SCVs, I believe, but then pull right on them back. Here come the families, going to be going off all over the Terran player's army, taking out most of the tanks. Once again, not the most effective use of banelings. Those Marines are so happy that the tanks absorbed all that damage, but then the Zerglings chewing through a remainder of the tanks, and now moving on to the Marines. And the Mutas coming in as well. Roaches still bearing down on these Marines. The Terran army just got completely annihilated right there, pushed back by banelings destroying tanks, Zerglings flooding into the Marines' faces, Roaches rapidly right behind them, and then the Mutas joining the party as well. So great play right there by HayprO, swinging in with those Mutas, those cavalry charging in and letting the Marines know that they indeed were drastically overmatched, losing all of those tanks. This medevac was lucky and survived with 11 hit points. So she is definitely sweating bullets right now, at least the medevac pilot's inside there. These bases have popped for HayprO, so he is now on 4 bases with this base once again getting underway. That hatchery just now started at what was his 3rd base. These Mutas still just flying around trying to find something to shoot, as the Terran army is forced to remuster up, as he is very much losing the supply count right now, right around 30 at that point. Here come the Mutas. Will they do something? No, there is a Thor here, and one Thor basically outmatches about as many Mutas as you want. So he will go on out of there with those Mutalisks, try to find a better angle to attack from. As more tanks are sieged up, once again, another hipster tank deciding it's not cool to siege up and will just sit there in normal mode. As this hatchery is about halfway done, this one is starting to get populated, and this one is, just barely starting to get populated. One drone holding down the fort, mining there at that expansion. So that drone is having a lot of fun being all alone. As SCVs are going to be down here. Looks like a command center flying down there will be landing right there and allow those SCVs to mine. So he will be on 4 bases as well. His main is, however, very close to mine. That's only 25 mineral patches right there. So that is going to run out in about 3 seconds. And here comes the massive amount of Zerg units going to be flooding in here to the 3rd base, or 4th base rather, of our Terran player. He's is running in there into the meat grinder as this Thor just target fractures right there, taking out Zerglings like they were pieces of paper. Basically, that's what they are to Thors. As Mutalisks flying over here, if there were a base here, it would be in trouble, but there's only 1 Marine, and that Marine is definitely going to die. As I'm not sure what his last thoughts were, but they were definitely very, very unfortunate. As these Marines and 1 medevac do try to hold the fort, Mutas flying, trying to find the right angle to attack them. There is a nice triplet of missile turrets, but unfortunately for them, there are just so many Mutas here right now, and these SCVs are in some trouble. The Marines do stim up here and run. The Mutas are content to just laugh at those Marines, stimming up, doing the damage to themselves, and then not able to get any shots off. So these Marines just doing drugs and paying the price for it, as there are not enough medevacs to heal them from their degenerate drug use, as this hatchery has popped for our Zerg player, so he is expanded all over the place, basically taking over the right half of the map at this point in the game. Well, our Terran player is, however, nicely on 3 bases at this point, still mining up his natural. This base is still pretty healthy, and that new 3rd expansion still healthy as well. But our Zerg player just has access to so many minerals. Let's take a look at that Harvester tab. Actually, a 3 Harvester advantage right now for our Terran player, so he is winning the minerals count. But our Zerg player just has so much more longevity, so much more resources in the bank, because he can remuster up this force whenever he wants. He is maxed out at 200 out of 200. So he is going to be poking in here once again with those Mutas, critical massing all over those missile turrets' faces. And now these SCVs are in some serious trouble. It looks like he actually Nightist up here at this expansion and will be streaming in some Banelings and Zerglings. This command center being built here probably will not finish. This planetary fortress just trying to take out Banelings. Like, here comes the entirety of the Terran player's army. Going to be running up here trying to do some damage, but unfortunately he is not going to be able to repel that in time. As actually he does make the Zerg forces leave pretty handily right there. So he finds this Nidus Worm, probably will be able to take that out. As here comes a Nidus in the main, and oh my goodness, this main base is in some serious trouble now. As Zerglings and Banelings are just going to be going off all over that main base and just taking it out completely. Meter's still flying up there. Looks like, you know, these Banelings trying to find something to shoot because there's just so many targets going to be running in here to the middle line, taking out a couple of SCVs. This Nidus Worm is still completely unchecked, and these roaches is going off right now as the Terran forces trying to get up here and neutralize this assault, but this main base is completely decimated right now. As Zerglings are just shooting through supply depots, supply blocking our Terran player pretty heavily at this point, as the Terran army has finally made it down here to try to make the Zerg forces leave, and the last of the Zerglings will fall, with a lot of resources lost there at that point. Actually pretty even. It's about 15 or 16,000 for our Terran player and 14.5 for our Zerg. But keep in mind that our Zerg player just has so many more expansions on the field right now that he can do this for much longer. And if it is indeed a war of attrition, our Zerg player will come out ahead just by virtue of starving his opponent to death. There's another Nidus popping up here. The scan will catch wind of that, but unfortunately the Terran army is once again all sorts of out of position, and these Thors just shambling on up there. They are so very slow. A couple of investors going to be joining the masses of Zerglings up here. Will they be able to go do some damage in time? Nope, the Terran army has, it looks like, streamed up here, so those Zerg forces unfortunately were not able to have the element of surprise on their hand. Oh my goodness, tanks is going off, but unfortunately those Zerglings, unfortunately for the Zerglings rather, the tanks were completely sieged up, so really they couldn't do anything. Going to be turning tail and heading right back into that Nidus. As this main base nexus for Happy is really, really sad that all of its friends, all of its other buildings and units got completely annihilated all around it. A couple of infestors and Zerglings and Banelings still just chilling up there at that base at the top left player's main. Looks like those Mutalisks just took out a Marine for fun at that point, as HayprO still has all these bases mining and getting just a ton of resources whenever he wants. His main base, I believe, is mined out. Yep, no more minerals right there. So both these players have mined out their mains. Looks like Happy is going to be just moving up some Marines there. Thought it might have been an SCV train. A healthy composition of 9 tanks along with 7 Thors. The problem is that army is so very immobile, so he will really need to do some scrambling if he gets attacked from somewhere he doesn't expect it. Still scanning to try to find another Nidus Swarm in case there was one. Melee attacks level 3 along with Burrow and ground armor level 2 happening for our Zerg player. Looks like weapons level 3 for our Terran player, focusing on those tanks and Thors. However, his Marines on upgrade still 2-2, so they're still pretty good. As Zerglings streaming down here, Muta's overhead, so it looks like these Zerglings will rapidly be completely annihilated as tanks, Thors, and Marines just basically said no to that Zergling run by. Muta's still just flying around, you know, completely ADD, trying to find something to do. Really nothing to do at this point unless they find an expansion unguarded. He does have the opportunity to strike right now with those units, but actually will be pulling them back for defense, it looks like, as this base once again will be taken out. All those tanks sieging up, and this expansion is very, very, very much in danger. Its days are very much numbered as it gets 4-shotted by tanks, and there goes, and the hatchery does fall, so that hatchery really not very lucky at this point. But here come Broodlords, as HayprO has had time to tech up straight into Broodlords, and this will be some trouble for the Terran army if he doesn't take these out before they're able to just chew through his ground forces. As it is 10 Broodlords in the air right now, the Terran army is going to be walking back towards his side of the field. These Mutas could have done some damage right there, but unfortunately we're all the way back at our Zerg players' half of the map. Are these Broodlords going to be able to fly in here, do some damage? The Terran army is stationed right here, and here come the Broodlings, going to be flying in there, chewing up some Thors, as that one Thor does get taken out. It looks like, nope, yeah, there it goes. It does get taken out. Muta's flying in here to join the party as well, and here comes what might be the final engagement of the game. Broodlords just throwing all sorts of crap in the way of these Thors. The tanks trying to take out the Broodlings will actually be doing a ton of splash damage to their friends, the Thors. So GG from Happy, because that was basically going to be disastrous for him, as just for good measure these Marines all get fungled. So this map is basically a Zerg player's dream. Broodlords just completely overmatching tanks and Thors along with some Infestors, telling these Marines that they should definitely have stayed at home today. So well played by HayprO, winning this game, taking it down, and I hope you guys enjoyed that game, and I will see you guys next time.